Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new week here in the Cabral Concept, talking about one of my favorite things during one of my favorite times of the year, and that is the 12-week year model. I talk about it every single year at the end of the year to make sure you are going to have your best year yet. So I'm happy to link back to previous shows and get a little bit more in-depth knowledge of the 12-week year if you've never heard about it before, but I try to tweak it just a little bit every year so there's a little bit more nuance to it. And again, if it were up to me, this would be something that's taught in childhood that you learn from a very young age, because this is what's going to make you successful in any area of the life that you want. So what I want to do is link everything up today at stevencabral.com/2509. And very infrequently do I do this for a Mindset and Motivation Monday, but today's very important because I'm going to be talking about a book that I've been using now for about, well, I don't know if it's been 10 years, but pretty close to it, by Brian Moran, called The 12-Week Year. I also did an interview with the author that I'll link up today as well at episode 2509. Why this is important, because I was using the 12-week year before I'd ever read the book, The 12-Week Year, but I hadn't refined it in the way that Brian wrote about it. So I'm always happy to share that with you, but each and every year I make it more my own. And when I do that, I want to be able to share with you the different nuances and what I'm learning each and every year, because life is not static. And that's the thing, like, you can't remain the same person this coming year as you were this year. If you do, then you're going to move further behind, because life does not stop. It just continues to move forward. It's our job not to let it overwhelm us. It's our job to enjoy the time that we have here. But at the same time, so much of that enjoyment comes from the act of growing, the act of actual being. And so there is a level of action that must be taken in our life in order to enjoy the highest levels of happiness. So that's what I want to share with you first. I'm going to get into exactly what the 12-week year is, but you need to know the formula. And again, these things have been talked about really since the dawn of time, and especially written-based word. And so it's a formula called the Be, Do, Get. I have podcasts on that as well. Again, I'll try to link that up too, but I want to give you a summary here today. The Be, Do, Get is this, is you need to be a specific type of person in order to do the things that are needed in order to get the result that you want out of life. So let me break that down a little bit further, because it's so powerful in just 3 words, but you have to know it inside and out, because it is not something that is ever taught in school, not taught by most of our parents. Most of our parents don't know this, nor in our community work, etc. So here's what you do need to know, is that the get part is typically what we're taught to do, right? To visualize, right? What is it that you want out of life? That's the get. That's the actual end thing. Okay, so let's come up with an example. Like for the new year, you want to lose 30 pounds, okay? That's the get. That's the last thing. That's the goal. Or you want to overcome your autoimmune issue, your low thyroid, your migraines, your skin issues, your digestive issues, hormonal imbalances, you name it. Okay, that's the get, right? That's the goal that you want to get. Okay? Relationships. You want to improve your relationship, take it to a whole new level with your parents, with your spouse, your partner, your children, your friends, whoever it might be, right? That's the goal. Then we have our spirituality to improve. We have our career, finances. You can put any area that you want. Okay, so the goal. And the goals aren't necessarily very difficult to come up with. If you simply sit with yourself, right? You sit quiet, you actually ask yourself, you allow yourself to creatively think or journal, excuse me. Or what I like to do is just go for a walk and just put on some binaural beats and just listen. Like what is coming up? And the things that continue to come up month after month, year after year, are the things that my subconscious is speaking to me saying, don't overlook this. This means something to you, right? Like it's that thing that you may be thinking about from a positive or negative perspective. I heard a very good quote the other day. I'll probably do a whole podcast on this, but it's like, whatever you resent in someone else, like, oh, that person shouldn't have that many followers on social media. That person shouldn't have been able to have that notoriety with that book. That person shouldn't have grown their career. That person shouldn't have been able to find that special someone, like overcome their health issue. Like you resent that about that person. Maybe you're not saying it vocally, but maybe deep down, right? They have something that you don't have and you want that. That is like sometimes our subconscious saying it in a negative way, but yeah, we want that too. And maybe that's healthy for you. And if it's healthy for you, maybe you want to work towards that. So the issue is this. Not so hard always to come up with our goals. How do we get them though? It's more than just visualization. It really is. And I've taught this on many, many shows. But it comes down to being here in this three-dimensional space, right? We're allowed to do, we're allowed to take action. So we then need to do what? Well, we need to figure out what actions are needed in order to overcome the health issue, the weight loss or weight gain issue. How do you actually improve your relationships? What about spirituality? What about career? Anything that goes along with that? Like what's a big passion in our life? So we have to understand is like there are playbooks that have already been written on what you want to do. So it's one of the reasons why I think that a lot of times the old school books, Chicken Soup for the Soul, I've had the pleasure of actually listening to both Jack Canfield get to speak and Mark Victor Hansen, I believe was his name, the co-author of those series. And a lot of those were inspirational, but they were also, hey, here's what I did. Here's how it happened. And so, you know, we all have our own stories. I have mine. It took me 10 years to get well. You don't think I wanted to get well the first year, right? You don't think that I wanted to get well the first month? No, I didn't know the know-how. I didn't have the playbook. This was also in the late 90s to early 2000s. So we didn't have the sharing of information we have now. We also didn't even have integrative health and functional medicine like we do now. It was underground because it couldn't be shared that easily, right? So there was no Integrative Health Practitioner Institute. There was no IFM. There was none of these things. So there were very few doctors doing it. But slowly but surely, I found some of those doctors. Then I met my mentor, Dr. Pete. Then she helped me finally get well. So I got well, but she gave me the final playbook. I had some pages along the 10 years. She gave me the playbook. Within 6 months, I was better. Not within a week, but I followed the playbook. I had to implement it. We'll talk about that in just a moment in the 12-week year. Okay, so we know that we need to get the playbook. That's the do out of the be, do, get, right? So we get the goal, but we don't get it for free, right? Not usually. There's a price to be paid. Time, money, experience, knowledge, trial and error, whatever it might be. Sometimes all of them, right? But then the first part comes first, right? And that's because you don't get to do the things or get the thing without being the person that is actually able to do the things. This is the most confusing part because even when people are told exactly what they need to do. Now, again, I've been in both positions. So I've been both the client or doctor or coach. I've been both the mentee, being taught, and the mentor. And I know as the mentee or client or patient in very specific times, I didn't follow the plan because I thought I knew more. Or I thought, hey, let me just make it my own. Let me put my own little twist on it, right? Well, you don't really get to do that until you've already accomplished it. Then you can look at it with a different set of eyes saying, oh, if I went back, okay, now I get it. So the problem is this, as a mentor, you can oftentimes give the person the exact plan. Now, does it need to be tweaked a little bit? Sure, but that's why the mentor or the coach or the doctor or the practitioner is there to help, right? Like the dating coach, relationship coach, health coach, integrative health practitioner, personal trainer, like they're there to help. They're giving you the plan. It's worked for hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of other people just like you, right? That's the plan. But sometimes we know the person can only follow it for a week or two or three and then they fall off. Or they tell you they're following it and subconsciously they know they're really not, right? They're not really following the nutrition. They're not really doing the exercise. They're not really getting enough sleep. They're not really turning off those blue lights at night, like all these different things, right? For the hormones. So we have to understand is that the way that we actually get to the goal that we want is to do the actions. The only way that we get to do the actions is become the person who believes that they are actually worthy and deserving and can actually accomplish the goal. The problem is if you don't subconsciously, you don't truly believe that you can accomplish something, the likelihood of you following through is very small. Now, there's other reasons why. The fear of success, the fear of failure we just spoke about. There's all different methodologies. I can't talk about them all today. I've talked about them on my Mindset and Motivation Monday. I go over them in depth in IHP Mastery, where it's the psychology of health coaching. It's to help people actually accomplish their goals, overcome challenges, be more consistent in their life, overcome the imposter syndrome, all of these things, right? But what I'm trying to share with you is this. Sometimes the actual execution is the easiest part. Like, it's not difficult to do 20 minutes of exercise. You may not want to, but it's not that difficult. You can do it, right? It's not that difficult to go for a walk for 20 minutes a couple times a day in order to get your 10,000 steps a day, right? It's not difficult, like, to be able to go get a healthy lunch instead of ordering, some fast food. Like, those things aren't difficult. Only after, though, you're in the mindset of a winner, right? The mindset of, like, I'm going to win this. I'm going to make it happen. Not where, well, we'll see if it happens. If it happens, it happens. No, it's your life. You want to actually be able to take that control and say, hey, no, I'm going to win. Like, I'm going to accomplish this goal. And you need to think of yourself as a champion. You need to think of yourself as a winner, because you are. You're already a winner at so many other areas of your life, except to where your goal matters right now. And it's not the opposite, right? It doesn't mean you've lost. You haven't lost. It's that there's some block right now where you don't necessarily believe that you are worthy at a deep, deep level of having that goal. And if you don't believe that, all right, well, then implementation is going to be easy and you're going to accomplish that goal. So now let's get into it. Again, in theory, all of this is simple, but I understand the execution can be challenging. And that is because our mind gets in the way. So the 12-week year is a beautiful way to take the mind out of the equation. All right, so I'm going to give it to you right now. So what I do, and this is my kind of new model, I've been talking about this over 2022, and I really do mean this. And again, this is evergreen, so you can listen to this in 2030. And again, these theories are the same from thousands of years ago as to how they are today. We just implement them differently based on technology, society, culture, etc. So here's the thing. You got to take the mind out of the equation. So all you need to do is set that goal. Now, I've been talking about it all this year. Don't set more than 1 to 2, right? So for me, I'm actually creating something. I can't give out the name quite yet, but it's going to be for basically high level, high performers. And that doesn't mean anything specifically. It's like, okay, if you consider yourself this and you like healthy biohacking and you want to take things to the highest level, and you want to really work on living beyond 100 years old, and you want to enjoy great quality of life all the way through your 80s, 90s, and 100, right? This is the program. Like, I've been working on this for a long time. I'm excited about it. I'm doing it for me, right? But if I'm doing it for me, why wouldn't I share that? Of course I'm going to share it. So that's exactly what I'm doing. All right. So exercise is one of those things I need to put up there. Now, luckily, I have my health. I feel great. This next program will hopefully even take that to another level that I'm not even aware exists yet. Okay, so then besides that, I could pick maybe one more, right? Like one other thing, one other area, but that's about it, all right? So that's really, and again, for me, like, family is always there. So it just is what it is. Like, family is just embedded with it. That has to be my focus, my goal. I've got notes that I actually take during the week that I'd be like, oh, these are some fun activities we can do. Like, I just want to enjoy those moments. And I don't want to plan my work and other parts of my life more than I plan my own family, right? So like, that's always my number. That's my number one. And then what I do from there is number 2 or 1B and 2 and 3. So that's how I look at it. You just need to choose yours. Like, what is the most pressing right now? Because remember, we're all in different seasons or stages of life. And for me, okay, my daughters are 8 and 10 years old now, right? So like, I want to just enjoy this time. I know it's finite, right? It really is. So at 8 years, 10 more years. And I know that it's not like they're gone forever, but they're out of the house. And so what I do is I always keep that in the forefront of my mind. That might not be you, totally understand. Maybe for you, it's schooling, it's certification, it's education, it's relationships, it's spirituality, it's aging parents, like whatever it might be. I totally get it. I understand. Make it your goal. So now here's what we do. Get overwhelmed. We can get overwhelmed at the goal. We can get overwhelmed at achieving the goal. We can get overwhelmed at the process. So what we want to do is this. We're going to take whatever goal it is and we say, how long do we think it's going to take to achieve that goal? And I'm going to be doing the implementation process next week. So we're not going to get weighed down with it this week. Next week, part 2, I'm going to give you the SMART goal setting, the process, the breaking it down, all that. But basically, let's just use a simple one for example. Okay, so somebody wants to lose, let's just say, 24 pounds. Okay, they want to lose 24 pounds. Can you lose 2 pounds per week? Yes or no? The answer, of course, is yes, you can. Okay, 24 pounds can be achieved in 12 weeks. All right, so now we have a 12-week goal. What if the goal was 50 pounds? Can you lose 50 pounds in 6 months? The answer is absolutely. That's 2 12-week years. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're just taking 2 12-week periods of time. That's it. And the whole goal of the 12-week year is that you accomplish more in 12 weeks than you typically would in an entire year. You condense time. So instead of saying, oh, this is what I'm going to accomplish over 2023, you say, no, this is what I'm going to accomplish by March 31st of 2023. And I love that. I mean, it's so amazing. As I say, if you shoot for the stars and you fall a little bit short, right, you still land on the moon. Something like that to that degree, right? So I love that. Or you shoot for the moon and you're amongst the stars when you land. If you fall just a little bit short, you're going to be so much closer to that goal. And so here's what I want you to do. Very simply, you don't just set it for March 31st or June 30th or whatever it might be. This is exactly what you do. You say, okay, I want to lose 24 pounds, not in 6 months, but actually in the first 12-week period of time in the year. So what I need to do is say by the end of this date, March 31st, okay, I've lost the 24 pounds. Now, what do I need to do each month in order to lose that 24 pounds? Well, for me, how I would break it down is that I know a client's going to lose more weight the first month. So I'm just going to basically divvy up, and I'll do more of this next week, how much they're going to lose each month, right? So, okay, let's say that I want them to lose 8 pounds in month 3, 8 pounds in month 2, and then I want them to lose an even 8 in month 1. Okay, that's one way to do it. That's simplistic. I'd say, okay, we're going to lose 12 pounds, or let's say 14 pounds the first month. That's very, very realistic with a 21-day functional medicine detox, with, you know, fat velocity system, something like that. So let's say 14, all right? I have 10 pounds more to go. 5 pounds in month 2, 5 pounds in month 3. Do you not think I can help that person lose? And you can help that person lose 1.25 pounds each week? Of course you can, right? Like that's absolutely doable. All right, so now you know what you need to hit each month. 14, 5, and 5. And then now you know what to do per week, right? You know how to break this down per week. The first month, a little bit more loaded. Okay, we need to do 4 by 14. We're at a little over 3 pounds a week. Yeah, absolutely, we can do that. Okay, now for the next 2 months, 1.25 pounds per week. Like that's what we're shooting for. And so you can see, like, now what do you need to do in order to lose that weight? Okay, well, of course, the first things are nutrition, exercise, all of that's great. But then what about sleep optimization? All the things that I talk about in the rain barrel effect. That's ultimately what helps rebalance not just the calories in, calories out, but actually the metabolism. So you might say, well, I don't know anything about that. But again, like, it's all there for you if you want it. You can work with a nutritionist, personal trainer. You can read the rain barrel effect. You can do the 21-day functional medicine detox. You can move on to fat loss. Like, you can do these things. So what I'm saying is it's there for you. Weight loss is just the easiest blueprint. I'm not saying it's easy. I understand. I've worked with many, many people, but the thing is the blueprint is there. And so you follow the blueprint. So why does that matter? Because you no longer need to worry about the goal at the end. You need to worry about only this week's goal. And that's to lose the 3 pounds in month 1 per week, and then the 1.25 pounds per week in month 2 and 3. And you can do that. Like, that's an achievable goal. So now you don't need to be the person who believes they can lose 24 pounds. You need to only be the person who believes they could lose 3 pounds this week for the first month. And that's just really believing, just following the system. And then you need to believe you can lose 1.25 pounds per week in month 2 and month 3. And you know you can do that. That's just that's not even 1% of your body weight in month 2 and month 3 in order to achieve that goal. So it makes being the person to do the things to get the goal that much easier. And that's what we try to do for clients, is just help take their mind out of the process. Because to be honest with you, the mind is the thing that holds us back. That is why I do these Mindset and Motivation Monday podcasts. I do them simply because so much of what you want to achieve from a health perspective, which is obviously my arena, is it's set. Like, CVO protocol for digestive issues. We got the para support. We've got, and again, you don't need to work with us. You can work with an integrative health practitioner. You can work with a naturopathic doctor, but it's done. Like, these things are done. Autoimmune issues. We know how to solve pretty much all of the chronic-based health conditions you've been told are not achievable. We know how to do that. And all of them can be really done within 2 12-week years, right? 1 to 2. That's for most people. The hardest of the hard cases, okay, 2 to 4 12-week years. But within a year, you're done. Like, you're healthy, you're not going back. Like, that's just the way that it is. And that's why I'm so passionate about doing the Mindset and Motivation Mondays, because it's simply the mindset of believing that this is possible. Now, here's the last part. A lot of people believe it is possible. They believe it's possible for their friends, their family, their coworkers, for other people, but just not for them. you have to understand is that you are not different. The mindset that it takes in order to believe it is possible versus possible is something that you do have within your control, because you believe certain areas of your life it is possible. I know many people who are wildly successful in their career, but wildly unsuccessful in their health. But the same thing that got them to being great in their career could get them to where they want to be in terms of their health. They just have to set it as a priority and then actually believe enough in themselves, or I always say in a coach or a practitioner, in order to then just take the steps in order to get the thing that they want. And it's amazing to watch the journey. And I really do want the same thing for you. I want you to accomplish more in these next 12 weeks than you ever have in a year before. And the great thing is this, then you get 3 more of them that next year. So what I'm going to do is next week, so episode 2509, head on over to stephencabral.com/2509. Next week, I'm going to give you the actual implementation, so more in depth as to exactly how I schedule it up on a big wall calendar and all the other things. And then just make this really manageable, because you're busy, I'm busy, I totally get it, I understand. But what we want to do is actually create something this next year that's memorable to us, meaningful, and that we can feel great about. So hopefully today's show was helpful. As always, please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody.